Okay, goalies, probably the most fun topic of the week, breakaways, all right? Huge part of the game. I also just, on a more serious note, obviously they're fun, but these are big momentum swings in a game. If you can score a breakaway goal, and obviously if you can make a breakaway save, that's always an exciting moment. And then obviously, shootouts are where the game's on the line. So, big thing about breakaways: 1, we got to be aggressive. 2, we got to be patient. And 3, we got to compete. It's a huge part of breakaways is managing our gap. If you hear me talk about have a tight gap, what I'm talking about is the distance from you to the shooter. Okay, you got to be good at having a tight, aggressive gap. That's so important because 1, of course, you're going to be cutting down the angle and the amount of available net they have to shoot at. Okay, that's obvious. Come out more. They have no pass option on a breakaway, and you want to cover as much angle as they can. 2, when they get close to you, when they run out of space, you're going to force them to make their move, and then that is advantageous for you. Right here, okay, the goalie is going to get beat because they're not quite patient enough. So I will say on this one, he does a really nice job staying aggressive, has a tight gap, but not quite patient enough. Another thing I'm a big fan of is a quick jab with that stick. When you have an aggressive quick stick, I really think that can help you in a lot of ways. I'm not talking about the big old Johnny Bower poke check. I'm talking about where your hand stays on the handle and you have that quick jab. But we got to be patient. We got to have a tight gap, and then we got to compete. Okay, so you just see how he bites a little bit too early there. He falls for the fake. Guy goes around him. Patience is a massive part of breakaways, okay? Another one here, aggressive, okay? Look how tight he is. Look how close he is to the puck. He's still outside the crease. He's not standing still. He has a little bit of that flow or a little bit of momentum, but he's not standing still. And then when he slides, see how aggressive the hand and the head is. We're attacking. It's totally okay to fall on your belly on a breakaway when you're making that final slide and that attack at the puck. But notice how tight the gap is, how low he is. Also, the one thing I would say, I talk with a lot of you about getting too wide and locked out on straight shooting situations, which is a huge issue. I want to clear up that's kind of allowed on breakaways. Getting really wide and really a little bit lower on breakaways is acceptable as long as you're not going down early. Tight gap, aggressive attacking type slide. Comes out. He doesn't play breakaways quite as aggressively, but he's good at managing his gap, which is the most important thing. But he gets out a little bit there, and then right there, you see how he's still out. Okay, so he's still he came out a little bit there, and then he backed in, which is just a little bit less timing. Some goalies like to come out here, come out more. That's great. You have to figure out what works for you. Okay, so don't be afraid to experiment. What won't work is standing still here. And, if you're above the hash marks, I think that is going to get you into trouble. If you're, there are some goalies, they get out towards the hash marks and then their timing and their gap are fine. I mean, that can work. But great gap there. Okay, nice patience. See how close he is? See how tight he is to the shooter? You want that. That makes the shooter uncomfortable. They run out of space. They run out of net. Really important strategy in breakaways. See, this goaltender, she's coming right out. Real aggressive, tight gap, attacks on the slide, almost bites on the fake here. But look how close she is. This is what you want. We're not standing still. We have a tight gap, okay, and then we're timing it so we have a little bit of flow and momentum back. And then you see how she's still holding her edges. She didn't go down early. That blocker's at the stick, nice and aggressive, okay? Now, a play related to breakaways, but not the same, is called the cut low. A cut low happens where a defenseman will get beat wide and they're going to come to the net, and sometimes they're just going to go short side. Sometimes they're going to go all the way to that far side post. And cut lows are tricky because you have to obviously read the speed and the lane of the shooter, but then you have to judge how much your defenseman is cutting them off and how much space they have. So on cut lows, sometimes we got to be aggressive where that player doesn't have a lot of real estate and we're just going to cut him off. Other times, that player is going to be cutting in and they're going to have way more time and space, and we've got to be prepared to get across back post. So much trickier play, easier and harder in some ways, but this is a cut low that kind of happens in a not a traditional way. But so here we're going to see McKinnon's going to make this cut around the D, and now, you know, it's not really a breakaway. It's this cut low play where he's coming in, and we have to judge how much pressure he has, how much room he has to come in. Jake Oettinger just kind of makes a poor read here, plays this way too passive, also getting into RVH way too early. He should just stay aggressive and square on this cut low, and he doesn't, and he ends up letting a squeaker through the short side. Weak goal, okay, doesn't have to be that way. Play aggressive cut lows on that type of situation, okay? Now, here is where, look at the pressure. This is a cut low situation. This guy's trying to get around him. Look at the pressure by the defenseman. The defenseman has a good chunk of this player. You know, the guys are still fighting for it, but the defenseman's getting a piece of him. You know, it's not an outright free lane to the net. And then watch what Joseph Woll's going to do here. Okay, he stays aggressive. See how he's not on RVH. He's square, he's aggressive. He doesn't have a lot of depth, but his positioning is aggressive. And you see how he just kind of plays that aggressive butterfly. When that guy runs into him, that kind of means you did a good job cutting him off. When you cut off that shooter and they run into you, you did a good job playing the play correctly. I don't know why this got put in here. It got a little out of order, but you know what? Nonetheless, let's talk about it. Great butterfly execution. Okay, could have kept the stick a little more engaged, but guys coming in on a good angle. Now, the thing I'll say I don't like, this is a great example of what many of you do. Look at his stance. That looks like a good, balanced stance. And this is obviously not a breakaway. You know, he's got options to move the puck here. Okay, but watch how wide and low he gets before the puck is released. See the change? That's a drastic change. I call that getting locked out. Don't get locked out on pucks, because then if this guy were to make a pass, okay, or shoot high, you're way lower, you're going to bite. You're going to go down early, he's going to shoot high, he's going to go around you, he's going to pass around you. Unless the player is, you know, right in front of you. If he's right in front of you, that's why I said the exception is on breakaways. If they're right on top of you, then you can do that. But a little too wide, a little too low there, okay? Now, we're going to move into a couple, random different topics. Just a couple details I want to go over that I think are really useful. So here, okay, we're going to have kind of a tough net front play. And this is where it's a great thing on breakaways, but it's also important on close and tight plays. We're going to get a good rebound here. But notice how this was like a shot pass, okay, to this net front guy, and he's going to get it and make that move around. You are going to go down there. You're not standing up when that puck is passed right here. When if this guy blocks the puck out here, yeah, you're going to try to stand up there. But you'll see this play. This is a great opportunity where we want to have an aggressive jab. It's almost as if that player is in our personal space, okay, I want that stick. See, look how close the puck is to his stick. You know what? He should have gone down. Going down is the right play. You're not going to stand up there. But then you want this paddle, okay, to kind of jab him and just poke that puck right off his stick there. But that's your solution to plays like this, is having that aggressive jab. Watch here. Okay, this is a great angle. Okay, really hard play. So you are going to go down, because if he tips at 5-hole and you're standing up, I mean, that ain't okay either, right? But just think about how if you just get an aggressive stick here, okay, right there, boom, that's just jab it, okay, keep that puck away, knock it off his stick, you keep the puck out of the net, okay? Okay, broken play patience. So, going RVH there, I don't think it was a terrible issue. We talked about broken play patience a little bit before, but it's so hard. But watch how this shot gets blocked, or it's kind of a fan. Like, look, the puck doesn't even get shot. It gets knocked out before. And what happened? Goalie's down, okay? You got to be patient. It's hard. It's a skill, but we got to work on it. We can't be going down early, biting early, because now when he corrals it, passes back door, the goalie's way out of position. goal. Okay? Really important part of the game. Be patient on those broken plays. Don't be going down early. Okay? Let's be holding our edges and staying on our feet as long as we can. Okay? Another one here. So he does go down early on the broken play. Of course, it's better to stay on our feet. But, you know, you got to be able to roll with mistakes. That's, you know, nobody's going to play the game perfect, okay? You got to be able to handle adversity, and you got to be able to roll with mistakes. But watch how he goes down early. Okay, this is a great replay here. Goes down early, but look how he didn't lose depth. Key distinction, he didn't collapse in the net. A lot of you collapse on these broken plays. He holds his ground, and then look how aggressive the gap is here. See how tight he is to that shooter? The shooters hate that. They want time and space. They want to be able to make that extra move. When they feel like they're running into you, it doesn't feel good. You're going to have a great chance to make a save. Catches it off the shoulder. Nice goaltending. Great job there by Ullmark. Okay, pretty hot goalie in the NHL this year. Led Ottawa to a playoff position. Pretty unlikely playoff team. Now, this is a mental part of goaltending. Never let your guard down. You have to be ready at any moment. That is your job as the goalie, okay? Your team is going to make mistakes at any and every level of the game. I promise you, okay? But you really have to be ready at any moment. This is, you know, obviously a favorite goalie of mine, Jacob Fowler, but he just assumes that the pass is going to be caught by the player. But why I don't like that, there's a lot of pressure here, okay? This player just created pressure. This player is well below the dots coming into attack. He should be playing windows here, okay? You should be playing windows, low, ready in our stance, not just saying, I think we got it. Because now, look, you know, that's a mistake. That's a bad turnover. But our job is to be ready. And then he's kind of caught over challenging, okay, just not ready for the play, as opposed to if he had played windows and was pushing out with a traditional T-push, he would have had a way better chance to make that save. But that's our job. We got to be ready, always on guard, never let your guard down, okay? Slow-mo replay bit here, but like, look, so if he had played windows, he would have gone window on his feet, window here, and then when he saw that guy got the puck, he would have T-pushed out hard and aggressive and set. Instead, he's C-cutting and flowing out, and then, you know, it's unfortunate his D kind of catches his stick, but nonetheless, wasn't ready for the play, didn't use windows. Use windows at every moment. I don't know what you are hoping for, but watch how he just, I call this jumping post to post. He just kind of jumps over to the other post, doesn't read the play, isn't ready, okay? And then now, okay, he's kind of chasing it and gets bumped into, and then goal against, okay? Couple great examples of Maggie Hatch here. I love talking about broken plays, but watch how puck is going to come into the slot. Okay, pinball around. She's aggressive. She's patient. And then look how that puck eventually squirts out to somebody. Okay, and she's pushing on her feet. She's not down early, like we saw with that OHL goal a moment ago. Not down early, on her feet. Great save, great positioning. Second save, third save. Heck of a goalie. One of the best in college hockey, okay? Beats that on her feet. And then watch, this one's sick, okay? What? Oh, no, sorry, I jumped ahead. Hold on. I want to show this again. Okay. Beats that player on her feet. Beats that player on her feet. If you're down early, if you're sliding, it's really hard to be patient. But watch what happens here. Puck gets blocked right there. Look what happened. Didn't go down, right? Still on her feet. Waiting. Puck comes to another player, pinballing around, off a skate, off a shin pad. Look how she's still up. She's still holding her feet. Eventually comes out, great save. Think about how long she had to wait. Think about how patient she had to be. Sick goaltending. Okay, so that's all we got for video. I hope you learned something. I hope you bring it on the ice every single session. And that's it for our video segments.